Next on Murfreesboro Storytellers, we have as our special guest Zane Cantrell, retired educator and apiarist, to tell us about beekeeping and the production of honey. Welcome to Murfreesboro Storytellers. For our program this month, we're on location at the farm home of Matt and Maxine Henderson in the Walter Hill community. But more specifically, our guest for the program today is Zane Cantrell, longtime educator and longtime friend. Zane, welcome to Murfreesboro Storytellers.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here and also to talk about honeybees.
Very good. We had Zane do a program for the Exchange Club, months ago, talking about bees and beekeeping. It was such a fascinating topic. I thought it would make a good program for Murfreesboro Storytellers.
Well, there are a lot of things about beekeeping and about honeybees and the pollination of crops and vegetables that most people don't realize, John. Do you realize every third to fourth bite of food that you take is due to the pollination done by honeybees?
I had no idea, and I guess most people do not either. How did you happen to get into beekeeping?
Well, my daddy had bees back on the farm. I didn't pay a lot of attention to them. I did a lot of running for them. I thought those bees were kind of mean.
Me too.
Yeah, but my good friend Tom Hartley, who is retired principal of Bellwood, has encouraged me to get back into beekeeping, and he's been an outstanding mentor to me. And Tom Hartley probably knows about as much about honeybees as anybody in this county.
Zane, you spent over 40 years in public education, right?
Yes, I retired from the Murfreesboro City Schools with 42 years in education. And Dr. McPhee at MTSU was good enough to encourage me to work for them. I worked for them for 5 years, but all along the time I was developing my bee business.
So how many years have you been doing beekeeping?
Well, I've been into it now about 10 years, serious.
The technical term is apiarist, I believe.
That's right. I'm an apiarist, and this is an apiary that we have here. We'll go into this in a little later on, but we have 8 colonies here.
Okay.
And they'll go up to 5 miles in any direction collecting their nectar to make honey, and also pollinating everything in this Walter Hill community.
Interesting. How many other locations do you have?
I have one other location. At my home, I have 12 colonies there. I try to keep my colonies to 20. That's about all I can handle. It's a lot of work, a lot of planning, and a lot of pre-prep, even during the winter time, to get ready for the harvest of honey. Now, right now, John, a lot of people don't know this. This is the honey flow. Height of a honey flow is in May. Now, we've had a late spring, so it's just now getting underway. And one of the reasons we're going to go into our hives today is just to see how they're doing.
So this apparently is a year-round work that you do.
It's year-round, and you're probably looking at, with 20, I'm working 3 or 4 days a week with something to do with the bees.
This is literally honeydew work then, I guess.
Yes, it is.
With 8 hives that you have this location, how much honey will they produce? Or how much honey does a hive produce?
Well, I'm not sure. It depends on how hard your bees are working. But last year with 20 hives, we harvested somewhere over 100 gallons of honey out of 20 hives. So not all of them did I pull from all of them because I wanted them to build up. And but we got a little over 100 gallons.
And you sell that honey?
Yeah, it sells out just as quick as I pull it.
Okay.
I'm about the only beekeeper that covers the city of Murfreesboro. And a lot of people who have allergies tell me that they take about a teaspoon a day, and it won't cure the allergies, but it really helps, and it helps them from having to take a lot of medication.
You mentioned to me in conversation earlier that the bees you're losing bees, they're dying?
Yes.
What's causing that?
Well, somewhere around 10 years ago, we were losing a lot of bees. They were dying out on us. And we worked, I'm talking about nationally, worked very hard. Agricultural departments, universities, they study bee behavior and what's happening to them. And we started building them back up, but recently we're losing a lot of honeybees again. They're dying on us. Now, what we found before, and we believe it's still happening, that the folks indiscriminately spray a lot of insecticide, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizer, and it all combines, say on 1 yard, and it's a toxic substance. We find that it's probably not killing the worker bee, the one that's out foraging, but it weakens that bee, and he comes back. The queen is very susceptible to that, and to the poison that they're bringing back in the nectar and also in the pollen, and she eats that and she dies. And if you're not very careful, in 30 days all your bees are gone, because she's laying about 1,000 eggs a day, and if she doesn't do that, your hive's going to die out very quickly.
What's the typical life of a queen bee?
Well, a queen bee, they'll say, will live up to 5 years, but we replace them every 2 to 3 years, and a lot of beekeepers will replace them every year.
And they will lay up to 1,000 eggs a day
1,000
for that
eggs a
period
day
of time.
for whatever time you have them in there. Now, if bees, the worker bees, if they sense the queen is getting weak on them and not doing that, sometimes they'll pull a new queen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they're pretty smart on that.
It really is interesting how intelligent they apparently
Yes,
are.
they are. And this time of the year, usually through April, you see a lot of swarms. Well, the reason they swarm is the bees, the worker bees, they pulled a new queen, and the old queen takes half of the hive and leaves and swarms. And what you want to do is catch them, put them back in there, and replace your queen. You've got a brand new hive going on.
Wonderful. Typically, how many bees you have in a hive?
Okay, I want to build up to at least 50,000.
In each hive?
In each hive. And
How do you count them?
Well, it's an estimate. You can tell, you can pretty well tell how many you've got in there. When you open them up, and you have one of these tall stacks back here, and they come out on top of you, you know you've got a full hive, about probably around 50,000. If I order a package of bees, they send me about 3,000 and a queen.
Mm. Where do you order them from?
Well, there are several places that have bee products, and you can order them from them, but you have to put your order in November to get them. Also, we've got some beekeepers here in Rutherford County, especially one out in Triune, Jimmy Haynes. He also is in the business of selling bees, so you can get them locally.
Is this a good area for producing honey?
Yes, it is. It's what I've found is, especially Walter Hill and where I live, the honey has really been good. I mean, you can taste it. It's just the sweetest, pungent type of taste that you'll ever see. Now, a lot of these beekeepers that have this kind of honey, they're selling it for $20 a pound.
My word.
Yeah.
Are there different varieties of honey depending on the part of the country and the crops that are being grown?
Well, that's somewhat misleading. Yes and no.
Okay.
A lot of the beekeepers will put flavoring in their honey to get a different flavor out of it. It's not to what the bees do. Now, you can tell a difference, like in Tupelo honey here, and sourwood honey. They say that you can tell that, and also clover honey, which is a milder honey, but it still has that old-fashioned honey taste.
I see. Where is Tupelo honey? Is that Tupelo, Mississippi?
No, it's in Florida.
Okay, I didn't
It's
know.
Tupelo tree in the swamps of Florida,
All right.
and that's why they call it Tupelo honey. Then, by the way, that sells for $20 a pound.
My word. How much do you sell yours for typically?
Oh, mine is, I get $15 a quart. They're 3 pounds in a quart.
Okay, so $20 a pound will be a premium price then.
Yeah, mine's very modest. I haven't gone up in mine in years, and I don't plan on. I'm not in it to make a lot of money. I'm trying to break even. That's what most beekeepers do, is just try to break even. But anyway, it's a service that I like to provide. Used to, John, I would just give it to family and friends, but I didn't have that many friends, so I had to start selling it.
Well, add me in, and when the next crop comes in.
I'll do that.
Are there many other beekeepers in Rutherford County?
Well, we meet, the Rutherford County beekeepers meet once a month, usually the first Monday of the month. We meet at the Ag Center. We have anywhere from 50 to 75 to show up. I'm also on the board of directors of the Tennessee Beekeepers Association, and we have well over 1,000 members in Tennessee. So we're running Rutherford County. Of the registered beekeepers, we have 200 or 300 of the registered beekeepers, but they don't always come to our meetings.
Sure.
They're very independent, beekeepers are.
If any of our viewers were interested in getting into beekeeping, what would you advise them to do? Would you advise them to do it in the first place?
Well, it's first of all, they need to get a reality check. Beekeeping is very expensive, startup is. Your boxes, your frames, and your foundations are going to run you anywhere from $300 to $400. Each, for each one. Your bees will run you anywhere from $85 to $125. That's your 3,000 bees, startup bees, and your queen. So in any time you have to replace the queen, you're talking about $25. Also, it's a lot of work, and always start with 2 hives. Never start with 1.
Oh, 2. Now,
2.
Why?
Well, here's the theory behind that, and this is pretty valid. If one of your hives gets into trouble, you can pull a frame of out of one of your hives that's doing real well and put it in the other, which will have brood in it, and they can pull their own queen, and then they can kind of start over. But if you have one, you don't have that resource to do it.
Got a backup, so to speak.
Yes, it is.
Good. Well, wonderful. This is just fascinating. What else is unusual about bees, their habits and their goings and comings that people don't generally know?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that people don't realize is that the beekeeping, value to beekeeping in the state of Tennessee, John, is over $100 million a year in the state of Tennessee alone.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
$100 million?
That's right, to the economy, through the pollination of crops and feed crops. It's worth that. The large super farms, they're the ones, they'll pay anywhere from $125 to $200 a hive to bring them there to pollinate their crops.
I see.
And the economic impact is tremendous, not only in the state of Tennessee, but nationally. The value is several $1 billion in the United States in pollination of crops and vegetables and so on. Without honeybees, you would see a terrible, terrible thing going on, in not only in the United States, but in third world countries. So we depend upon honeybees, their pollination, more than most people ever realize.
Is there one part of the country of the United States where beekeeping is heavier or more populated?
Yes, there is. California, there are 3 places on the face of the earth that grow almonds, okay? One of them is in California. About 85 to 90% of all of the almonds that's sold in the world is grown in a little valley in California. Sometime in October, they start asking us to bring our bees to California.
So you could actually transport your bees, take them out there?
It takes over 1 million colonies of bees to pollinate the almonds. Nothing else can pollinate them, John.
Just bees?
Just honeybees. And that's why they want that many. So you're talking about millions and millions of bees in those orchards in California. 85 to 90% of all the almonds are grown there. And people who do that for a living, then they start back east.
I see.
After the pollination season, and it just comes to the East Coast all along.
Well, wonderful. This is just fascinating to learn about bees and beekeeping and the production of honey. Now let's suit up and move over to the hives and get a first-up view of what goes on.
Okay, and be very careful that we don't get stung.
Amen.
Hey you, what are you doing? You need to get up and get moving. And the Greenway is where you need to be. The Murfreesboro Greenway system covers 12 scenic miles of the city where you can walk, jog, bike, or inline skate. Visit murfreesborotn.gov/parks to find a trailhead near you and get moving. The Murfreesboro Greenway system. Let's get walking.
Well, we have suited up and now we're at the apiary. This is Zane Cantrell, this is John Hood, and we're going to find out more about bees firsthand. Zane, tell us about these protective suits we're wearing.
Well, these are specially designed to keep from your bees stinging you, especially around the head and around the face. But also a part of this is you don't want your bees to die if they sting you. Generally, if a bee stings you, he dies immediately. But if he stings this cloth, the stinger comes out and he goes on about his merry way.
What is a special cloth that's used in this?
It's a cloth that allows the stinger to come in and out.
Okay, yeah, right. Not just lose his stinger
No,
and then
that's
die
right.
from it. Now, tell us about these hives. They're specially made in several ways. Even tell me about the covering of the paint.
Yes, they have a metal covering to it which protects them year-round, keeps water out, also keeps other things from getting in, like other insects and so on. The sides of it, it has a deep base on it. Then you paint it with a special paint, outdoor paint, that and you put 2 or 3 coats on it, which keeps the elements out.
Okay.
So it's a very time-consuming, lengthy process of developing each one of the hives that the bees live in.
Now, some of these hives are taller than the others. Explain that for me.
Okay, each one of these hives will have what we call a super on it. Now, the bottom part of it is where they raise their brood, the baby bees.
Okay.
The top part is where they store their honey. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look into these, and I haven't looked in for some weeks to see how they're doing. We want them to fill up each one of these supers, and as they do, we have to put another super on top of them because it's a little early to start extracting honey.
Okay.
And I may have to do that within the next couple of weeks, but I'm trying to avoid doing it now.
How often do you look in or check?
Well, during the height of the honey season, honey flow, they tell us you should look in maybe every week or every 2 weeks.
All right.
I usually look every 2 to 3 weeks. I give them a little bit more time. And the reason I do that, it kind of sets them back 2 or 3 days every time you open them up, because they seal everything on the inside with a special glue that they make.
My God.
And they seal everything up, and then they have to stop gathering honey, go back, seal it all up, and then they go back to gathering their honey.
Zane, I see you have one of Rutherford County's finest products on top of these hives. Good old limestone.
Yes, and the limestone is on there in case we have a storm, a hard storm. You don't want these hives to blow over.
Sure.
Even though they have it glued, it's always safe to have a rock on top of it, and we use the limestone around here.
Now, you're wearing gloves and I'm not.
Well, I'm going to go in, and a lot of beekeepers, these are rubber gloves you can feel, and it also helps prevent carrying disease from one hive to the other.
So what kind of disease would
well,
bees
there are
contract?
a lot of diseases that bees are getting, viruses that weakens them. They won't kill them, but it'll weaken them. And over time, it'll have a negative process on them, and they could die out on you. So you do everything that you can to prevent. Like if one of your hives, you have to put them under a microscope and check them that way to know if they have something. But this is just a preventive method that what beekeepers use, is using sterile gloves each time they go into their hives.
If they do contract a virus or some other disease, is there a treatment or anything?
There is a treatment, and we do treat our bees, but we try to avoid that.
Sure.
We try to avoid using any kind of chemicals whatsoever on them. One of the things that's happening to our bees right now is a virus that moves from hive to hive, and we will use tetramycin on that if we confirm that we have it.
Sure.
Now, other things that I do is I use the tried and true method of putting powdered sugar on them. If they have mites on them, they shake that powdered sugar off. The mite goes through the bottom of the bottom board, and there are always mites there.
see.
but they're so small you can't see
I
them.
can imagine.
And but anyway, those are just little things that we do.
Now, how did you know to do that?
Well, Tom Hartley was the one
Okay.
that informed me that that was the best method of treating for mites.
Powdered sugar.
And I've never had any trouble with mites killing any of my bees or
Oh,
weakening my bees.
Wonderful. Well, what's next? Shall we look in the hive?
We're going to pry up the top, see what's in under there, and we'll see. We got some bees running around on top, and I'll put that lid there.
Okay.
And this is the inner board, John. We
Okay.
have to ease up the inner board, and you do that very gently because we don't want to upset the bees in any way.
The bees on top, are they coming or going?
They're just looking to see what's
Okay,
going on.
Okay.
And see the bees on the bottom of the board here. Now, one of the things I always check and make
Oh, boy.
sure that I don't have a queen in there because I don't want to lose a queen.
Sure.
But these are all worker bees and not a queen there. So I'm going to ease this back down here right beside of their hive. And we're going to take a look at some of the frames and foundations and see how they're doing, see if they're filling up with honey. And that's the most important thing that we're doing right now. If we find that we need to put another super on top of this, we can do that.
Okay.
So I'm going to ease this right up. Boy, it's full of something.
Oh, it really is, isn't it? My word.
And oh yeah, they don't have a lot of room.
Ooh,
You
I'd
can
say so.
see, boy, they have packed that full of honey. Both sides, and they're in between. Normally they won't do that, but this is a good indication why you need to look at your bees
I
every
see.
couple of weeks.
Now, what would you do if that being full? Would you remove it and put another one in?
I'm going to put one right on top of it.
On top of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of beekeepers will pull this whole thing up, and I may do that, and put one, since this is already packed, and I'm going to look at the end and see what we got there. This is not finished over here, so
Not nearly as much as that other one.
yeah,
right?
the outside part, but they're getting to do that. They're sealing up each one of those and getting it ready. You know, honeybees are the only thing that stores something for man.
Bless them, I see.
See,
yeah.
they haven't sealed each one of those.
No, not
So
nearly.
they'll cap that off. This is capped off on this side, but the inside isn't. So they need some more room.
Got still some room over in the far corner.
Yeah, but they need room, and they're ready to put a new one on them.
Now, the first one you pulled up is basically full. You have any idea how much honey would be on that one rack?
We'll get probably a quart of honey
Okay,
out of that.
out of
That
both
is so
sides.
full. They've really pulled it out as far as they can. So you'll see that. Now, what we're going to do, John, is we're going to try to pull up. I don't like to do this, but it's probably a smart thing to do. We're going to pull this up if we can. And
All right.
see, this is so heavy.
Oh boy.
And I'm going to sit it right here.
Now that's running over with honey there.
Yeah. Now, you see, this is packed in with honey as well.
Right.
And when I pull that up, see, we've lost some bees by doing that. And they've just filled this up. I've got to pull this out and have them to extract the honey. And what I'll do is, after I extract the honey, I'll bring it back, and they'll clean it up and get it ready to fill it back up again.
What does this metal strip or plastic strip do that?
Okay, that's a
Sure.
beetle trap.
Okay.
That's another thing that affects your bees, and you have to put that in there. They'll chase the beetle in there. There's some liquid in the bottom of it,
Okay.
usually canola oil or something like that. and the beetle drops down in it, and he never comes out.
He's gone, okay.
That's right, he's gone.
And beetles are a problem then?
Beetles are a problem. That's only a recent thing too. Beetles have migrated into our part of the country and are really affecting our bees.
Okay.
They won't kill them, but what they do is the bees spend a lot of time corralling them and chasing them and running them into the traps.
And they ought to be making honey rather
That's
than doing
exactly
that.
right.
Okay.
You've got that right.
Okay. Very
Now I'm going to go over here and get a super.
good. Put another one on here, right?
I've got a brand new super.
Okay.
They're ready to fill this one up. And what we'll do, John, is just set this right up on top of it. But I'm going to ease it because I don't want to kill any bees.
And you don't want to damage that honey either, do you?
No, I don't.
How about that?
Got that right on top of it.
It's a little, there you got it, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of three crawling around here. They'll
Okay.
find their way back.
Now, I've got the problem of lifting this back up and getting it up there. So if you'll come around
help
here
you?
and get a hold of one edge
All
of
right.
it. There you go.
Oh, that is heavy.
Yes, it is. Now, we're going to take it and we're going to set it right back up, ease it right up on top.
Okay.
There we go.
Let me get my hand out from under. We've got it, yeah.
Now
Back up
we
on
got
the-
it.
Back up on here.
And we're going to ease it right on over it. Now,
Whoop, move
that's
the-
okay. We'll
move
get
the
it.
second one a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get it straightened up. Now, what they'll do is they'll clean up everything that we made a mess on.
How long will it take them to fill up that new one you put in?
Well, the way things are going right now, it'll probably take them about a week.
Okay,
And I've seen them fill them up in a day or two.
my word.
But I don't think we're going to have that much right
Yeah,
now.
okay. They're really swarming right up here.
Yeah.
What's causing them to group up like that?
They're eating honey that's been
Oh,
spilled there.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to try to ease that forward just a little.
Does that
It doesn't
also
have
help
to.
them in producing more honey by eating honey?
Yeah, well, no, they not necessarily.
Yeah, okay. I think just a hair. What it needs, I
Yeah,
think.
it's probably all right.
Yeah, I think it's close.
Let me see what.
Boy,
we
the
got.
honey's running down outside here.
No, we got a.
The second one needs scooting a little bit, doesn't it, Zane?
Yeah. I've got it.
Whoop.
Now I'm going to ease it your way.
The top one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to line it up. Now the bottom one,
Yeah, the second one's the one that needs to be.
that's in good shape.
Now we got him. Okay.
Now we got them.
All right. Very good.
Got it in good shape. They're ready. Now what they'll do is they'll seal everything up
Okay.
and
Let's put the. Do we need to put the rest back at the top
yeah,
back on?
what I'll do is I've got an inner board now.
Okay.
I'm trying to let them settle down a little
Sure.
bit. And
Yeah, this-
these will go down and they'll work this one right here.
Okay, the new one you put in.
Yeah, and
Good.
what I'll do is in a couple of weeks I'll check this and pull all of these off.
Zane, thank you so much. This has been a fascinating adventure to see how honey is made and how you operate an apiary and do beekeeping.
With it.
Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to getting some of your honey when it's produced.
Thank you, and welcome, and come back anytime.
Thank you. We've been visiting with Zane Cantrell, retired Murfreesboro educator and apiarist at his honeybee location located on the Lebanon Road in Murfreesboro. Thank you for joining us for Murfreesboro Storytellers.